Hello, welcome back. This week is the week that I generally start thinking about next semester's classes in some detail. And so this is the semester that this is the point in the semester where I am starting to prepare a syllabus if I'm working on a new prep. And we have a great resource, which I will link below or put it in the attachments to the emails probably, a template within the traditional undergraduate program that we use within Mount St. Mary's. But I also wanted to add an additional resource from the Chronicle because they have a great resource about not only why certain things are on the syllabus, but also why certain things should not be on the syllabus. Now again, I know there's probably no way you can see this well, but it's just a huge resource. Go figure, there's a pop-up right there. There we go. How to create a syllabus. And it's long, it's fantastic, it's in-depth. It goes into so many things about why we create syllabi a certain way and how we can present it well so that students receive it well. I just think it's a great resource. And again, I'll link it below in the description. But one of the points that they make in the article that resounded with me was this point about scolding. Now I'll read you the quote because this sounded very personally relevant to me, which says, scolding. There is a temptation to put something in your course policies that directly responds to that one student that did that really aggravating thing 2 years ago, and you'll be damned if that ever happens again. Well, yeah, they say obviously not to include that in your syllabus. But I think it's such an honest temptation. I'm at a position where I've personally taught certain courses a lot of times now. I think my stats class, I'm up to something like 15th time or something like that. And with that, I do know these kind of common areas where students get themselves into trouble, or where they're really tempted to cheat, or where they're maybe tempted to cut corners, and then it ends up in them not doing spaced practicing, and so they don't learn it as well. And I think there's this temptation in our syllabus to put stuff like, you should do this, or you must do this. If you don't do this, I won't help you with this, because we've seen it before. And I know I personally have been tempted to do this, and probably some of the stuff I have done borders on that for sure. But it's something that I've tried to take out of my syllabi in more recent years, because I've had a little bit more compassion and a little bit greater insight into why some of those things happen. I generally find that some of those things happen, like students are really tempted to cheat on certain assignments, or students maybe don't engage in the practice that they need to be engaging in, because they're students and this is new and it's their first time taking this class. So while I've seen it before and I know that these are common trip-up points, and so I'm tempted to kind of lord this knowledge over them in the syllabus, I have to realize that that's part of being a student and making mistakes and receiving feedback for that. There's really no reason I should be frustrated with a student who's completely novice to my class just because I've experienced it before with other students. And I know that that's something that's maybe a little scary to say about ourselves, or a little bit brutally honest, but our students are new to our classes for the most part, and it's tough sometimes to manage everything as a 20-year-old trying to balance classes and work, and like many of our students, motherhood and full-time work, in addition to full loads of classes. And so because of that, I've tried to really make an honest effort to remove some of that phrasing out of there. Now, that doesn't mean I don't try and prevent students from making certain student mistakes. I do a lot of scaffolding where my classes have certain assignments at certain times so that I know they're getting spaced practice, and I have certain feedback opportunities so that I know they're able to get immediate feedback from peers and feedback very quickly from me within like 48 hours or so. I still do all those things, but what I write in my syllabus are things phrased positively, such as Students in the past who have done these things have generally been successful. Or students have reported that at X chapter things got difficult, and so allocating extra time to that chapter was really helpful for those students, and they recommended that future students do that as well. In other words, there's nice ways of preparing students for the parts of your class that might be difficult for them without coming off as scolding. So I encourage you to take a critical eye to your syllabi and look at the language that's on there and see if it's encouraging or if it's scolding in nature. I obviously also encourage you to check out the rest of that article. It's great. I know it's a little long and that not all of us have 10 or 15 minutes to read a long form article like that. But if you're at the point where you really are truly rethinking classes, it's probably worth the investment to think about how to put together a quality syllabus, one that you hope to use over and over again in the future, and to do it well and do it right the first time. With that, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Have a good one.